It's a lovely morning, and you're on to Pensioners 106.7 FM. How are you doing this morning? My name is Pelumi Adedoja. On Newsreel this morning, we're taking two of the national dailies, The Punch and the Nigerian Tribune, and boldly written on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Lekki shooting, NBA's insists on probe. Amnesty releases evidence linking military. Invading soldiers prevented ambulances from reaching injured protesters. Amnesty International stop denial. Admit errors. NBA tells federal government we demand accountability. Hashtag answers protester. And other headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We have Okonjo Iweala favored for WTO job despite US opposition. And we have Buhari Lawan, governors preach love, tolerance at Malud. 3.9 billion naira residence permit. Scam military officials firm land in EFCC. And we have UI suspends vice chancellor's appointment. Workers allege imposition. 6 policemen killed, 5 stations burnt, AK-47 stolen. And that statement is coming from Oyo CP. We have electricity customers law 204,506 complaints in 3 months. And also we have Danjuma meet Buhari behind closed doors in Villa Shant newsman. Likewise, we have court refuses to issue arrest warrant for Desiani. We have the APC lashes PDP rather over 3 billion naira COVID-19 fund whereabouts. We have prison reject suspended looter thugs arraigned by police. And finally, from the front page of the Punch newspaper, tragedy averted as fire guards petrol station in Lagos. Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, we have Lekki shooting. Amnesty International wants against cover up. Gives timeline for event. So after workers protest, UI Council suspends appointment of new VC. We have Wiki offers 20 million naira each to families of soldiers, policemen killed during IPOP clash. We have court rejects EFCC's plea to issue arrest warrant against Desiani. Insecurity undermining Nigeria's economy. And that statement is coming from Buhari. Why Nigeria universities can't run 100% e-learning. And that statement is from the NUC. Police get multiple benefits in Lagos. State to offer scholarship to university level to children of slain policemen, to food hospital bills of injured officers, to take care of their burial expenses, work towards insurance policy for police officers. And finally, we have COVID-19. Germany, France go into lockdown as second wave strikes. We'll bring you the details of the story shortly. Stay with us as we go in the short break. Thank you for staying with us. Now bringing details. Okonjo Iweala, Nigeria ex-finance minister elected WTO DG. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Nigeria's nominee for the office of the Director General of the World Trade Organization, has emerged the winner of the highly competitive race. The former minister polled 104 votes from 164 member countries to defeat her South Korea trade minister opponent at the final stage of the race. She has broken many records, including becoming the first African to occupy that office at the WTO. Okonjo-Iweala, 66, twice served as Nigeria's finance minister and has experience working at international governing bodies as a former managing director of the World Bank and a chairman at the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. Okonjo-Iweala campaigned as the WTO outsider and a reformer who told Boomerang, she plans to bring a fresh set of eyes to a deeply dysfunctional organization. Okonjo-Iweala, Nigeria ex-finance minister, elected WTO DG, and we have US may veto Okonjo-Iweala's emergence as WTO DG. In the meantime, the World Trade Organization's WTO effort to officially name a new leader hit a new roadblock late yesterday after the Trump administration said it wouldn't back the appointment of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to be the WTO's next director general. The U.S. could not support a consensus decision to appoint Okonjo-Iweala deputy U.S. Trade Representative Dennis Sher said during a meeting of WTO delegates in Geneva, according to three officials who were monitoring the proceedings. All WTO's decisions are taken by a consensus of its 164 members, which means that a U.S. move will act as a veto that disrupts the process. A WTO official said work will continue to reach a consensus ahead of the meeting of the General Council tentatively set for November 9. The development came after Kunjuriala, Nigeria's former finance minister, received a key endorsement yesterday from the WTO Selection Committee, which moved her a step closer to becoming the WTO first female director general. She said the U.S. disagreed with the way in which the process was being carried out, according to the People U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer has pushed for South Korea candidate Yoon Won-hee, even though Okonjo-Iweala gained U.S. citizenship in 2019, saying Okonjo-Iweala is being too close to pro-trade internationalists in Washington, like Robert Zoellick, a former officer who worked with Okonjo-Iweala when he was president of the World Bank. And in passing in that WTO leadership race wouldn't likely bother President Donald Trump, who has blasted United-based organization as a tool for globalists who allow China's economic rise to go unchecked. Okay, now moving over to page 2 of the Punch newspaper. But before I do that, I'd like to welcome our analyst already seated in the studio. Mr. Williams, good morning.
Good morning. How was your night?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How about yours?
Well, we give God the glory.
Yeah, thank you. I really don't want us to get into all the details before I get your reaction regarding the emergence of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a Nigerian, which we're proud of, as the WTODG.
Well, since the news came upstream yesterday, thereabout, and I've been quite happy, you know, because at least as a bright spot in all this news we've been hearing about Nigeria. This tells us at least there is light at the end of the tunnel. And as a Nigerian, I am happy, more so for the girl child because of
Mm,
what she represents.
mm,
She's telling the world and as well Nigeria girls that there are so many ways to advance. That you are not less brilliant because you are a girl child, or less intelligent because you are a girl child. You can achieve the highest office that you want if you
mm,
are focused, if you are determined, if you are a hard worker. And she has shown that through her career. She
mm,
has been rising from one office to the other. Each time she leaves a lesser office, the next place you hear of her name is at a higher office, and she has been doing so consistently. So this one is just another feather to our cap. Whatever the US is saying about veto or not,
yeah, soon I
we
said
are
that.
US is known for this kind of shenanigans to an extent. Let's not forget the issue of our additional Afrobank. They were also trying to come up with this blockade, trying to investigate this and that, and at the end, he still became the president for the second
Is
time.
it a US Nigeria thing or US against the world thing?
It seems like under Trump, it's like the US against the world team, especially when wherever the name China is mentioned. This president of the US, Donald Trump, will have this migraine somehow each time China is mentioned. But still, it's supposed to be US. You are supposed to be at the forefront of democracy. Now, and the majority they say is wins the vote. Now, Okonjo-Iweala has received 1,000 plus out of 1,600 members, and somehow for what? See, if US, if they could advance clear reasons why they are going to perhaps be objecting to the election of Okonjo-Iweala, then perhaps they can come up with that. But then it's always about politics, and often sometimes it's not played the way the way that would advance the collectives. America, as you know, always look out for themselves first and foremost. But then this woman has been, right there, in your soil, and doing all these things. You have been seeing her. She's not new to you.
And she's a US
Yes,
citizen.
though she got that one a bit late, but then she has been there. She has been part and parcel of that country. Contributing to the improvement of that country. So you cannot stand now as a blockade to this approach event. So if you decide to, as a nation, stand against her without giving concrete reasons why you should, then you'll be seen as the black sheep of the community.
Okay, thank you for that. Now going to the second page of the Punch newspaper, Lekki shooting, NBA insists on probe, Amnesty releases evidence linking military. The global rights group Amnesty International has collated and released a timeline of the killing of #answers protesters by soldiers at the Lekki Toge, Lagos on October 20. The AI said its crisis response experts investigated and verified social media videos and photographs that confirmed the security forces were present at the Lekki toll gate when the shooting occurred. The evidence was published on the group's website, Amnesty International Home, on Wednesday. The Nigerian Bar Association and an activist, Raphael Adebayo, in their separate reactions to Amnesty International statement, reiterated their call for the probe of the Lekki shooting. Sub headlines under that we have: "We demand accountability." #answers protesters. We also have NBA insists on federal government's probe of Lekki shootings. On its part, the NBA reiterated its call on the federal government to thoroughly probe the incident of the shooting of peaceful #answers protesters by soldiers at the Lekki Tollgate Plaza on October 20, 2020. And that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Lucky shooting NBA insists on probe. Amnesty releases evidence linking military. And we have the same story on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. We have Amnesty International warns against cover up, gives timeline of Lekki shooting, says 56 persons killed during protests against police brutality. The Amnesty International Wednesday told the federal government not to attempt any move to cover up investigations into the Lekki toll gate shooting of some #answers protesters by some soldiers. Amnesty International said the victims of the shooting at the Lekki toll gate last week, Tuesday, must get justice with identification and diligent prosecution of the soldiers who shot into the crowd of protesters demonstrating against police brutality and extrajudicial killings in the country. And that's on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. Amnesty International warns against cover up, gives timeline of Lekki shooting, says 56 persons killed during protests against police brutality. I'd like your reaction to this about all this you know things we're getting to realize from Amnesty International. Not well whether it seem new or not, but all this evidences they're now coming up and the push from Amnesty International and NBA.
Well, the pressure is a welcome one to start with, and there is a need for us to actually get to the root of what happened at Lekki Tollgate. There is a need for us to do that. If we decide to push that, just to the back burner, then that tells a lot about the kind of leadership that we have presently.
I would like to call your attention to the fact that this is not the first time Amnesty International will be speaking about extrajudicial killings by the armed
Yes.
forces of Nigeria, and we've not heard so much of a move. So, do you think that this time around is so much of a pressure?
Well, yes, there has not been any kind of a move by the federal government to unearth and to punish those responsible for those shootings, but this one is a bit different.
Okay.
is a bit different. And if we are reasonable, if the leaders are reasonable at this time, they shouldn't push this. Just they should not treat this as they've treated others. They should take it seriously. One, yes, we know each time Amnesty, comes up with their report, each time it is not favorable to this presidency, they will push it aside. Each time it is favorable, they go to the market and start, trumpeting that report. But that is not how it should be. If you believe in an institution, each time they bring out a report, whether favorable or not, you need to look at that report. And right now, it is not difficult to see a cover up coming up. That is why Amnesty and other people, other coalitions, they are talking about it, fervently, loudly, because there is a move to cover up what happened at Lekki Toll Gate. And looking at what the uh, military is saying, what the governor of Lagos is saying, there is stories in conflict, from these two bodies. First, let's not forget. First, the military said soldiers were not there, never went there in the first place, and you stood by that assertion until there was pressure, facts coming forward about what really happened. Then you now said, somehow, we got we were invited by Lagos State government to come and intercede somehow or intervene in that crisis. And somehow people are asking, why did you have to lie in the first place? You shouldn't have lied in the first place. One would have thought, as an establishment, as the military, before you make any statement, you've looked critically at the facts that would inform your kind of statement, not you dancing from year to year. It's as if that office is not respected, is not revered. Because if it is respected, then you are very, very careful about your utterance as a leader of that military sector, and and be honest with the people. But then we see a move to cover up. The president at this time, truly, if he is the kind of a father he's supposed to be, a watcher of events in this nation as it should be, and making sure that justice is served at all time, then he must not sit down and watch this kind of cover up take place. Otherwise, if he does that, we will simply just have more bad remarks from other countries as regards the way we treat our people. We cannot say we value our people, and each time there are crises in other countries, we lend our voice to those crises, and the same thing will happen in our country. Somehow we'll just shift them under the carpet as if it doesn't matter. That kind of hypocrisy should not be practiced at the highest level of governance in this
Okay.
country.
All right, thank you very much. And there's this move by Lagos State on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Police get multiple benefits in Lagos. Government to set up trust fund. Lagos State Governor Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has said the state government will set up Rebuild Lagos Trust Fund aftermath of destruction in the state occasioned by the fallout of the #EndSARS protest, which rocked the state and the country. The governor also promised the state would offer scholarships to children of policemen killed during the protest to university level, compensate their families, foot the hospital bills of injured officers, take care of their burial expenses, replace all damaged personal and official vehicles of policemen officers, as well as work towards insurance policy for police officers in the state. Now, this is the statement coming from the Lagos government for benefit of policemen, especially those affected during the protest. What do you have to say to this?
Well, it is a laudable, yes, and these are things that should have been done, like insurance for police. These things should be in place. And the barrier in other climes, when a policeman falls in the line of duty, he is given a kind of barrier that somehow the whole world will stand and notice, because is a sacrifice.
Mm.
Now he's buried with such fanfare, with police regalia and the rest things. He's buried like that. So these things are not supposed to be happening now. they are supposed to be in place long ago. Incentives to make the police do their job better. Like like this, their scholarship now to advance any child of a policeman that have that have failed in line of duty to university level. All these things should be in place. But thank God they are coming upstream now. My prayer is that they don't do these things as a audio promises. They make sure that as they've come forward and they've made this promise, must make sure that at least they follow through with the promise. At least that perhaps will give the policeman more incentive to do their job without having to look for extra money here and there that often leads to this kind of a carnage that we are seeing presently.
But do you see a replication of this same, you know, policy and action by other states?
It should be replicated. If they've not done it yet, it should be replicated. So at least to lift some burden of the policeman or the policewoman, at least help them do that. It should be replicated.
Okay, and going over now to power, we have 2021 budget. Reps tackle Minister of Power over undeclared revenue despite multiple billionaire investments. The House of Federal Government to spend 204.348 billion naira on power sector to connect 5 million homes on solar home system. The House of Representatives on Wednesday expressed concerns over the failure of the federal government to declare accrued revenue from trillions of naira invested into the power sector over the years. In his remarks, a member of the House of Committee on Power, Honorable Maki Yelema, who stated this during an interactive session with the Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, on the 2020 budget performance and 2021 budget defense held at the instance of the House Committee on Power, blamed the power distribution companies, DISCOs, who own 60% power asset equity, for failing to invest in the power sector. Okay, I would like your reaction to this. First, for the reps tackling the Minister of Power, or generally tackling the federal government for refusing or not being able to so far declare the revenue billions of naira. But according to the content here, it says over the failure of the federal government to declare the accrued revenue from trillions of naira invested into the power sector over the years. And so, what do you have to say about all this investment and now no defense for it?
There is this collusion really between the federal government and this discourse, because we thought we have privatized NEMPA. That is what we were told, and since that exercise, over 2 trillion has been spent to revitalize power, and we are asking ourselves: you said you privatized. Somebody painted a picture. He said you bought a house you sold a house for maybe 2 million naira to somebody. Then you spent about 5 billion trying to renovate the house for the person you sold the house to. That's what we are doing. We said we prioritize NEPA, and somehow we keep spending money every year to bring power up to par with how it should. And I'm asking myself, people are asking, what exactly are these discos that are collecting money, making humongous amount of profit from this venture? What exactly are they doing? But then people have said repeatedly that those that own these discos, they are friends of those at the highest position of power in this country. So it is business as usual. They just kind of like, dismantled it and shared it amongst themselves. That is why you see, we don't see profit coming to the country. We don't see any kind of improvement in services, just to come monthly, collect money, and decide to just stay back. We've talked about a prepaid meter that has been there. Is like an echo. We keep talking about it every time. They keep making promises. They'll come up with ICAP. They'll come up with whatever they call it. And after about a month or thereabout, that program will just fizzle out. They continue as usual. So there is not enough regulations from those that should regulate this sector, because they are colluding. Now that the House is trying to tackle the issue, where it is welcomed. But the thing is this: the House is not going to go the whole hog. They just tackle it a bit, and after a while, perhaps message has come from some quarters, you see the whole issue will fizzle out. My own hope and prayer is that they do the needful, because there's so much rot in that power sector that even you don't have to dig too much to see the rot. That the house is coming in at this time is it is welcome, but at the same time the house is culpable in the rot in that industry in the first place.
Okay, and here we have federal government to spend 204.348 billion naira on power sector to connect 5 million homes on solar home system. How hopeful are you about this?
Well, you see, one has to hold on to hope that
Okay.
at least whatever they've said, they will fulfill their promise. It is, it is what we must hold on to continuously. But because of the kind of government we have and the kind of reality they've planted in our hearts, we have this penchant to be a bit skeptical. But if they could do it, it is welcome. But it is not the federal government at this time that should be spending money. It is the you have privatized these things. So why not allow these companies that control these things now to look for ways to expand on these things instead of the federal government every year, budgeting billions of naira to look for a way to expand something you have already sold.
Okay, moving now to page 8 of the Punch newspaper. We have court refuses to issue arrest warrant for Desiani. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday rejected the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's request to issue a warrant of arrest against a former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Desiani Alice Maduike, believed to be residing in the United Kingdom. Justice Ijoma Ojukwu rejected the EFCC's request for an arrest warrant, citing the Commission's failure to enforce the earlier criminal summons which the court issued on the former minister since July 24, 2020. The Commission had, in requesting for the criminal summons in July, claimed that it was required to facilitate the ex minister's ex- extradition to Nigeria. Court refuses to issue arrest warrant for Desiani. What do you have to say about this ongoing case?
This drama is back and forth. There's no way you can go and arrest this woman without having the country that she's residing, you know, give a go ahead for it. That is why they are talking about this extradition to extradite this woman to this country, and it is that country where she is residing. Let's not forget she's a citizen of it's not a Saint Kitts, So you don't. There are procedures to these things. Now somehow we keep trying to subvert the procedures, hoping that somehow this procedure just fall off the rail because we are asking for it. There are things that you should do. The lawyers are aware of these things they should do. So they cannot keep looking for how to get a arrest warrant here in Nigeria and somehow not take into consideration what is happening, what should happen in this country where this woman resides. So they should do the needful. Go to the US or to St. Kitts where she now has a citizenship, and then process her arrest from there. If they are able to do that, all this drama would not come up. But somehow they keep trying to circumvent, and it's not going to work because it's not Nigeria. Nigeria has a way of doing this thing, but other countries somehow they still respect their law to an extent that they won't allow anybody to subvert it. So we must do the needful. Yes, there's a lot of questions that she needs to answer, but we must make sure that we do it in accordance with the laws.
Okay, thank you for that. And yes, you are there listening could call in now and let us know what you think. The number to call is 0908 111 1067, 0908 111 1067, or call 0808 010 1067, 0808 010 1067. We'll be expecting your call. Moving now to page 7 of moving over now to page 7 of the Punch newspaper, we have Ogun hotels, worship centers in full opening. Ekiti workers resume. The Ogun State government on Wednesday directed full reopening of religious centers, businesses, hotels, and other entertainment centers in the state. The state government, Dakwa Biodu, in a statement, In a statement by its chief press secretary, Kunle Somori, on Wednesday, recalled that the religious centers and other public places had been reopened following the success recorded in the flattening the curve of COVID-19. And we have also the Ekiti State Governor, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has directed workers on grade levels 2 to 7 in the state public service who had been at home since the outbreak of the COVID-19 to resume work with effect from November 2. We have a caller. In.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Umaya State.
Wow.
So there's something to ask you.
Please, what's your name, please, from Umwaya?
I'm a pensioner.
Okay.
Okay, your
I
name.
get.
Okay,
Uh, I'm a pensioner. I'm Julius.
okay. Please go on, Julius.
Okay. The question I want to ask is that why is our pension bill today this month? Because I don't.
Okay, Julius, I think that question, the appropriate source will hear that question, probably profess something. Thank you, Julius, calling all the way from Mumbai. Okay, you can call the number to call 0908 111 1067, 0908 111 1067, or 0808 010 1067, 0808 010 1067. Okay, I would like your reaction to this reopening of Ogun hotels, worship centers. Since COVID-19 started earlier this year, and they're just reopening. And not just that, the Ekiti state workers between grade level 2 to 7 who have been at home since the outbreak, just that will be resuming November 2. So we have another caller. Hello, good
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm from the Delusion Baton.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Yes. I want to.
Whoa, we lost that call.
I'll give you
Sorry
a call
about that.
back.
Okay, so I'd like to find out what is your take on this opening after so long.
Well, I think they've stayed long enough. That is one. And
Okay.
secondly, each time they talk about this flattening of the curve, and I'm asking myself, what exactly are they talking about?
Hello.
Yes, the matter is Umaya.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You should know that as far as I'm talking to you now, the government has paid pension of state pensioners. It remains only the those that reside in the primary schools and local government, and that will be paid by tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the response. We appreciate it.
So, you see, as I was saying, each time they talk about flattening of the curve, and I'm asking myself, what are they talking about? Is it that we just keep repeating all this phrase from other countries? Now, you've not tested enough for you to talk about flattening the curve, but then
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah,
Hello.
we
Good
know that
morning.
that's for the people. Yeah, good morning.
Good
So
morning.
what I was telling you, are you hearing me?
Yes, please. Who am I speaking with, please?
Okay, you're speaking with Julius Isiga from Nigeria Port Authority, retired member.
okay, he called.
Okay, and I'm sure Comrade Abata has given you response to your question.
Yes.
Yes.
The question I want to ask is our pension is being delayed this month. So I want to know why.
Okay, so I believe that afterwards, after this, a response will be given to that. All right, thank you very much for that. The number to call if you want to give your comments and opinion about the stories we've read out to you so far. The number to call is 0908 111 1067 or 0808 010 1067.
So, as I was saying, so you've not tested enough to at least be talking about flattening the curve. But then this is Nigeria. Our leaders have a way of celebrating these phrases they pick up from here and there. But as regards the reopening of churches and hotels in Ogun State. I think Lagos has reopened much of these areas, and Lagos was the epicenter for center for this virus. So, if Lagos had done this all this while, I don't know why Ogun State kept their workers and their hotels shut up to this time. But then, since they were concerned about safety, I think now that they've looked at the environment and they've seen that there's enough room for reopening, then they can go ahead and reopen. But if we could guarantee if elections in this country, campaigns could hold even in the midst of this COVID-19, even at the very peak of it, if elections could hold and campaigns took place, I don't really see the reason why Ogun State kept their workers at home this long and perhaps locked their hotels, keeping people at home, and more so they did all these things without alleviating the sufferings of the people the way they ought to. But then they are opening now. We are not going to fault them for trying to be safe. So,
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that. Now, on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune, we have insecurity undermining Nigeria's economy, and that's coming from Buhari. Launches 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day Emblem Appeal Fund. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday observed that the security challenges confronting Nigeria has undermined the country in several key sectors, particularly trade, investment, economy, education, health, agriculture, as well as freedom of movement. He has, however, expressed delight at the return of normalcy to some of the areas that previously witnessed such security challenges. What do you have to say about the president?
it is funny that the president is telling us.
Okay.
We are supposed to be saying to him, look, sir, insecurity is threatening our way of life. And what exactly are you going to do about it? Because that is your job. But somehow, as a president, he has also been one of the pilots of insecurity in this country because of the way he has handled a few things, where he has dealt with some issues. He has not done the very best of job when it comes to trying to secure this country. And then you are not coming out as a president telling us these things. You have observed these things. You've seen that it is there. What exactly are the steps you are taking to make sure that you curtail this? It's not yes. Perhaps you will look at the protest and call it insecurity per se, but then you are asking yourself, what led to these things? Are we repeating the same thing now as we speak? Because some of these leaders, even in fact, this AI call not to sweep these shootings in Lekki under the carpet. If they end up doing that, they are also calling for insecurity because people are going to be aggrieved. So you, as a leader, you see these things, take the steps that must be taken, devoid of ethnic sentiments, and then make sure we see the transparency of the steps you are taking. So this can curtail further insecurity in the country. But often, each time the president acts or speaks about these things, he is just so facetious, so shallow in the way he addresses them, as if they are not important. So now that he knows, he has to double his effort to make sure he brings about security in the country, because that is his job as a president.
Okay, thank you for that. On page 9 of the Punch newspaper, we have again federal government ASU unable to agree on payment platform. For the second time in 1 week, the meeting between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities deadlocked on Wednesday at the 30 billion naira and allowance of the university lecturers. The federal government team, led by the Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Igige, has offered to pay the salary arrears and the 30 billion naira and allowances of the university lecturers through the integrated payroll and personnel information system platform, pending the rollout of ASU's preferred platform, the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. But ASU's delegate, led by the national president, Professor Abiodun Oyemi, insisted that the payment should be made through the UTAs. what do you have to say about the
This
back and forth
this
and the continued
is
strike?
becoming kind of like not only worrisome, a disservice really to education. Now, ASU is supposed to be peopled by intelligent, brilliant people, professors that can sit down and within a few hours devise solution to any kind of thorny issues. Now, this one for over six months now, it has been dragging on. You hold this meeting, you hold that meeting. Somehow, you have not been able to come to terms with your. It is almost laughable. If children engage in such negotiations, what would they say? The federal government and ASU, you're talking about a sector that we all believe is pivotal to the movement or the improvement of this country. And for the past 9 months or thereabout, you are talking about it and not able to agree. I don't understand what they are saying. Because right now, I don't want to say they are trying to make a nuisance of themselves, but it's what they are doing because the children are at home. Why you throw this bricks at yourself back and forth? Children are at home. Their future somehow is being tampered with because you guys are not able to come to terms with your agreement. Now the IPPIs and the other one the ASU came up with, they must
We
be.
have a caller. Hello, good
Thank
morning.
you. Good morning. John Jocko is my name. Good morning.
Good morning, John.
Yes, the NBA is calling for a probe into the Lekki killings, but I'm aware that the Lagos State government equally set up a probe panel, an inquiry. So I don't know what the NBA means. They want the federal government to be investigating while the state government is equally investigating over the same thing. I don't know what the NBA really means by telling the president to investigate, because I'm sure that there's another panel investigating that might affect the Lagos State government too. That's just my question.
All right, thank you, Mr. John.
The state government, if we recall, has their position. The federal government also has their position. So the investigation, the panel that was set up by the state government, if they come up with their findings, would the federal government accept the findings they've come up with? That also is an issue that we must look at. Let's not forget the military is under the control of the federal government, and the military has their position about the shooting, going back and forth about the facts. So the NBA calling is not out of place, but at the same time, let's not forget that this issue we are dealing with now somehow is broad, is beyond the state governor and the state government.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Williams. At this point, we'll draw the curtain. Thank you so much for such intelligent analysis of the stories we read out. And yes, we appreciate all our callers. Julius, all the way from Mumwahia, and a very honorable comrade, Olusegun Abata. Like us, Mr. John Ejoko, thank you so much for gracing this program with your calls. We would like to wish all Muslim faithful happy Eid al-Maulud. My name is Pelumi Adedoja. I say have a lovely day.
Pensioners FM 106.7 and Give me the good sound. I love good sound. What a one now. I love pensioners.